I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about integrity and innovation. And the reason I'm thinking about this is very recently I've found myself experiencing a lot of fraudulent behavior in the people around me. Um, I was scammed out of a computer sale, so someone offered to buy my computer and they never paid me for it. I was in a work arrangement that was nothing like what it seemed, and that put me in a very uncomfortable position where I almost found myself homeless in the middle of Tulum. And I felt like the way that this place was presented, it was a work exchange I was doing in a hotel. And at the very last minute, they decided to change their idea of what they were doing. But the point is, they didn't honor their contract with me, and they kicked me out for no specific reason. However, in retrospect, I think the reason I felt very surprised by that choice was they presented themselves as this, holistic, caring space, but really they weren't. They were just all about money. And to them, it didn't matter whether or not their decision was creating a vulnerable situation for me, someone who had traveled all the way from the other side of Mexico to Tulum specifically to work and stay in that hotel. Um, I experienced fraudulent behavior with different business people in Tulum, with different so called spiritual people who just at the end of it were very, very dark. I was dating a man who was in his 50s who really presented himself as this wise whatever. And underneath the surface, it was a broken little boy who was just trying to find love in very maladaptive ways. That is the most benefit of the doubt I will give that man. If I go further, I will talk about what I think was actually evil about that person. But in any case, the point was that what was presented wasn't what I was experiencing. And so I've been sitting here thinking, okay, like literally for the past 6 months since I decided to leave Querétaro and move to Tulum, I have experienced fraudulent behavior that has put me in vulnerable positions many times. Now, as a student of high magic and a believer in conscious creation, I have to then ask myself, where am I fraudulent? Where am I not in integrity? Is it possible? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I don't think it's a harmful question for me to at least check. Is there any way that my word doesn't align with my action? Is there any way that what I present doesn't align with what I am, my being? And so it made me think of the word integrity, and integrity meaning that what you put out is what you are. Or if you think about integrity in terms of the material context, you say a piece of wood has integrity when it's uniform throughout, right? So materially, you're uniform. Your mind, thoughts, body, emotions, expressions are aligned, are uniform. That's integrity. But then I also thought about innovation. And I imagined, I'm just working this out as I speak currently. So this is not necessarily going to be any, I don't know if this is anything mind blowing or breaking. Maybe I'm channeling, we'll see. But I immediately thought about innovation and wondered if it's possible that innovation is on the other side of the spectrum, or just wondered how innovation and integrity work together and how they balance. Because let's talk about innovation. Again, as a student of high magic, when you're innovating, you are literally going to the future for something that doesn't exist yet, and you are choosing to then believe that it is going to be in existence, and then choosing to bring that feeling, emotion, identity into the present moment to become it. Now, we could say that that does mean that you're in integrity technically, because what you're doing is, okay, let's say in this condition, I am currently vibrating at A, right? And the innovation, whatever I want to create, is at a vibration of B. The moment I say the word B and I start to embody B, technically I have come into integrity with B, even though I was at A. My question to myself, to life, to the universe, to you is, does isn't there an overlap when there's some point when we're out of integrity, when we're trying to innovate? What's the difference between someone who is innovating and creating and someone who is just lying about who they are with no intention of becoming that thing? And I guess that's the word, the intention. I'm writing this down because this is a live journaling session. That's what's happening right here. Live journaling. It's the intention that ties it together. And I just love alliteration. So I love when ideas all start with the same letter. That's the beauty of coming into mastery of a language. I consider myself mastering English to a certain degree. I know there's always room for growth, but the idea that integrity and innovation are linked by intention. So if a man who I'm dating tells me that he wants to create safe space for me and he is not fully there yet, but he is innovating that thing, his intention is what makes a difference. But then here's the thing, that intention doesn't necessarily change my experience, right? So I'll think about it again. Just work, for example. If you're offered a position and the innovation is, hey, we can only afford to pay you 2,000 right now, but we know you're worth five. Perhaps they really have the intention. Why do I have a knife? Perhaps they really have the intention to pay you to five, but they're not there yet. So do I receive that thing? Do I take the 2,000 even though I know I'm really worth five? Questions, questions, questions. I don't know if I have any further to go with this, but this is a question I guess I'm putting out there. What's the difference between being fraudulent, where your word is just not anything near what you people experience of you, and being innovative, where what you are claiming to exist technically isn't in existence yet? And then how do other people relate to you? Or how do you relate and relate those things to other people? Do I speak of my innovations? Do I speak of my intentions, even though technically they're not here? If I am vibrating in the thing, is that enough for it to be here? Do I truly experience that thing as present, even if I'm not feeling it? And do other people around me do that too? This is the These are some questions I have. Anyways, thank you for listening to my verbal journaling session. And if you have any comments, I'd be happy to hear.